All right. So, okay, we're hitting record.
Okay.
And we are now official for the class of the difference between psychic, intuitive, and channeling. Before we go any further, what I want you to know is that there are 2 rules in my class. And before I tell you about my 2 rules, I'll tell you how I operate. Again, I do best at the edge of chaos. So I love interaction. I love conversation. You do not need to think about this as a lecture. I welcome questions. I welcome interruption, except for when it's time to meditate. All right, makes sense? All right, so what I want to do is tell you that I am down to earth. I consider all my classes lab work. So think of this as living lab, and I swear like a sailor. All right, so here are my 2 rules. I had to tell you all that before I could tell you my 2 rules. Rule number 1, who wants to guess it? Janet, if you remember it, I'd rather go ahead and speak it out.
Who wants to guess your rule? Anything.
Rule number 1.
Anything goes.
Kind of close. That is true. Rule number 1, if you cannot get rule number 1, you got to get the fuck out because we will not vibe. Got it? Rule number 1, you are always right. You are always right. And we'll talk about that when it comes to intuition. Rule number 2, it's not your body. That also has to do with intuition. Okay, we will be using these 2 rules during this class today. Any questions about that? All right, let's hear, and because you're always right, speak up, please. Let's hear your definition of psychic.
I'll try that. I'll take
Let's hear it.
I would say using senses other than your 5 senses to perceive the energy around you.
That's really good. That is really good. We can even hone it in a little bit more. Anybody want to hone it in a little bit more? So here's the deal about psychic. Everyone is psychic. Everyone is psychic.
Yeah.
If you can breathe, you are psychic, because if you can breathe, that means you have energy, and psychic energy is also energy. Psychic energy is direct connect. You know, someone's going to answer the phone. You know, if your friend that's pregnant is a boy or a girl. You know that the parking angel has left you a fantastic parking space. You know you're going to get that job in August.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So it's a direct connect. I will also tell you that, what else? Dreams. Some dreams are direct connect. Actually, dreams in general are psychic, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So some people go, Cynthia, I just had this, forecasting dream, and it was awful. And I'm like, okay, what was it? And then go, well, I was walking down the street. Stop right there. It was not a psychic vision. A psychic vision is a complete snapshot. So think about your deja vu. It's like that. It's a complete vision right there. And so it's a whole piece of information in one picture. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Yeah.
So, right? So here's how another way a direct connect works is when I think of somebody and they call me on the phone. That's psychic. All right. Any questions about that?
Happens all the time to me.
Yeah. Right. It doesn't happen. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have a question about the dreams that are psychic. So just so I see if I understand it, you're saying, so the dreams where we're interacting, where all these different things are taking place are more like a subconscious thing. And the psychic dreams tend to be something where you're sort of getting a whole lot of information in one quick shot. Is that what you're saying?
It's like a complete snapshot. It's like a complete snapshot in 1 second. So when your friend, I raise your hand if you figure out the sex of a baby before they were born. Has anybody ever done that? Or knowing, right? Or knowing that there's a parking. It happens that fast, and boy or girl, there's no emotion around it. Okay, Maggie. So if you find that there's emotion or that there's a buildup to the scene, then it's not forecasting.
Got it.
Forecasting is all of a sudden you see a building crumble and you're like, shit, earthquake. Okay. But if, you're walking and then the ground starts trembling and then a fish comes and walks up to you and says, "Good day, mate," then you know that it's not psychic. Okay. Or it's a different form. Okay. Any questions about this? Psychic happens all the time. I learned how to be psychic. This is crazy, but I learned how to be psychic in the 70s with a friend of mine family friend, and she used playing cards, and she would pull out 3 kings and a queen, right? And then you mix it up, you lay it down, face card down, and you just start working on which one is the queen. That's how you do it. Super, super simple. Okay. And it actually helps with cards too. So if you like going to Reno, it actually can work. Okay. So long as, now here's the deal. Psychic is a snapshot of information. It is not emotional in any way, shape, or form. How you feel afterwards, that's all you. But the psychic thing is pure energy, no judgment. Any questions about that?
Yeah, and is that the same as if you're reading hands?
So
if you're reading hands, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know a whole lot about hand reading. What I do know is that it follows, like tarot, it follows certain guidelines. And to me, it's really interesting because as soon as I touch somebody, I also get impressions, but I consider that intuition because that's an emotional and an experiential thing, right?
Okay.
A psychic thing for me would be, but if I were to touch someone's hand and all of a sudden I see something, that's psychic. Or I know something, that's like a psychic.
Yeah, I've read hands before, and you know the basic lines.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's just what you were saying, it's like that's just kind of like it helps you read, but it came to me with some people.
Right.
If something comes to you, yeah.
Right. Anybody have any questions about this? No?
I have something to say. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
absolutely.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So in having something, let's see what I was going to say, and having impressions like that, the only thing about that is not being able to confirm what those impressions are. You might see
Confirm
something
it, yeah.
about somebody, or maybe you can't, but
Right.
you can't confirm that's what you're
Right.
saying.
Right. So
that's the hard part.
So here's what I love to do. If you cannot confirm these things and you really want to, right? You want to work on your psychic abilities. What you want to do is start practicing someplace where, and when I say someplace, an arena or an area in which you can confirm, which is why playing the 3 kings and the queen, you can confirm that, right? You can do someone picks up a card and you could say, you can say it's either red or black, or you can say it's, stop me if I do too many stories, but here's one thing that we do. So I do martial arts, and in our martial arts test, at some part of my martial arts test, we are in our test, we're in our test, and we're not allowed to drink water. And it sounds like it's horrible, but it's not. So we train, and our teacher is watching. Then what happens is we have to turn our back to the altar area. And then we have a bunch of our fellow students line up in the altar area and with their hands behind their back. So 3 people will have water in a cup behind their back. Everyone else has an empty cup. And you have to, you have to go through it and find out which one has water. And so that's why right? So you can practice so many different ways. I don't recommend you do the martial arts version unless you're doing martial arts, but that's what you want to do. There are so many ways to play with psychic exercises that can confirm. Okay. So there's that. Let's go to intuition. And let's go to intuition. We'll do channeling really quick, and then we're going to go have fun. Does that make sense? Everybody cool with that? All right, intuition. This is where everybody gets tripped up, and it's my favorite arena. Here's why. Intuition is really closely related to emotions, and this is where people get all fucked up because they listen to their intuition, and then they get it mixed up with their emotions, and so then they follow their emotions, which means that they get it wrong, and then they go, see, I'm not intuitive. That is a bunch of hooey. Okay, so here's an emotion. An experience happens and you place a name on it. That's an emotion. And so every time you have an emotion, it goes back to that experience. Okay, this is the very basic way of explaining it. So if you think about it, if I'm happy, this is not the first time I'm happy, and it kind of links all the way back to earlier happier times. Make sense? Okay. Or even easier, I get hangry. Well, I bet you when I was a baby, I'd get hangry. So it just kind of follows through. Okay, there's a through line. Okay, so intuition is a layer on top of emotion. Okay, so emotion is an energy that's experience-based. Okay, intuition is energy-based, it's experience-based, and it's emotionally based. Energy, experience, emotion. See how it's one on top?
Mhm.
And so you see how it's easy to slip into that other thing and then get messed up and stick into your emotions?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what happens. I'll tell you, this is where it's pretty popular with a lot of people. I wouldn't say popular, but it happens the most. How many of you had a great idea and you knew it would work? Raise your hand.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden you hear, and all of a sudden something happens and it taps into your emotion. And then you don't do it. Okay. That is a perfect example of emotion versus intuition. Your intuition is always right. It's just being able to separate the intuition from the emotion in order to stay true to your intuition. Okay. And to do that, you need to have integrity. And we'll talk about that near the end.
I had an experience, and I'm not quite sure what it was. I had a neighbor who across the street, and we never got along. And one day I was coming back from the mailbox, and I had this, and I was looking at him, and I had this feeling that I wanted to go up to him and hug him and tell him that everything was going to be okay, not to be afraid and not to worry. He went on a business trip and died the following week.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So what was, I didn't follow through on what I felt I should do because
Right.
I thought he'd probably go say, this woman is crazy.
Right. So it's a weird way of getting confirmation, right? So it was intuitive because it was not a direct connect of, oh my God, this guy's gonna die, right?
Yeah.
So it came from experience, and the
Okay.
experience and emotion, which is you are showing compassion.
Yes,
Going to
I
be
did.
okay, right? Everything's going to be all right. Doing a hug is intuitive, right? Because it is an emotional thing. Okay.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, it was such a strong feeling, and it was just, my mind didn't even enter. It was just like, I have to do this. But human ego held me back and said, oh, he's going to think I'm crazy, and let it go. So.
Which is fine. You got your confirmation,
Okay.
right? So yeah, good. It was a good question. Really good question. All right. So any questions about intuition so far? Intuition to me has the broadest spectrum because it's based on emotions. It's still energy based. Remember, just like psychics energy based. So we are all intuitive, but because it's energy based and we all communicate differently, the odds of someone using their intuition the same as you is 1 in 68 trillion. Okay, let me back up that number. The odds of someone communicating just like you using your intuition is 1 in 68 trillion. Here's right. So if you feel like what you said, Marcia, right? Which is like, I felt compelled to do this
Yeah.
in the drive, and there was actually like a push. It's important to trust it. And now you know that you can trust it, right?
Yes.
There's no judgment, no downside of what happened, right?
Right.
And you would have been right. This is where you're always right is in, because my experience is different. My intuition probably would have been, hey, go and buy him a little gift and just go spend some time with him as a gift, because my experience and my emotions are not the same as yours, and I communicate differently. So
Okay.
you're right and I'm right. There's no wrong answer. Hence, rule number one. The
Right.
other thing about rule number one is that once you feel safe that you're always right, you don't have to deal in the world of maybe. And that's a confidence builder right there. Okay. So in the intuitive area, everybody deals with intuition a little bit differently. There's more than one way, and it's an extension of your senses. Most of us are clairsentient, right? Which means that we feel. It's in our body. If someone coughs, you cough. If someone's feeling down, your energy goes down. If they have an ache, pain, itch, or twitch, so do you, right? That's intuitive. It's also clairvoyant. So clairvoyant is a type of seeing. You can see off in your imagination. You can actually see it as if it's around. Someone just told me that she doesn't tell people because she's a pretty successful business owner, but she'll see a symbol right here. Oh, sorry, over the left shoulder, and she doesn't say anything until she feels compelled. And if she feels compelled, then she knows that there's a conversation to be had because she trusts that part of her intuition, right? And we all work with our trust in a different way. Then there's clairaudient. Clairaudient means that you can hear things that other people can't hear, or that you can hear the truth within the words. Clairaudient, right? Then there's every once in a while, I don't remember the name of it with the nose, but you can smell.
Oh,
That
yeah.
usually-
I suppose.
right, and that usually is associated with ghosts,
Oh God. Scare me. I
right?
smell every night. I smell a different scent in my room.
So yeah, so you can ask what the scent is. My partner and I, we crack up because neither one of us smoke, and all of a sudden we're like, we smell cigarette smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone around.
When I smell smoke, I know it's my mother visiting me.
Yeah,
She's an
see?
avid cigarette smoker, so I go, "Oh, mom's around."
Yeah, I always had a sense
Oh,
with my dad, we
yeah.
just don't know, right? At least for us, because there's so many smokers in that generation. Okay, and then believe it or not, I have yet to meet someone, but you can through your taste. There are people who are intuitive through their taste. And because I have yet to meet someone and explore that piece, I have nothing for you. I just want you to know that it exists. Okay. And I could help you develop it if you have it. I just don't have it myself. All right. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what we got so far?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's hear it.
When when I was a child, I guess young, really kind of young, let's say maybe about 18, somewhere. Sometimes they have commercial come on TV and you see grapes and you can taste them. I
Yeah.
used to have that kind of experience.
Yeah. See, I never had that.
But I don't know if I have it so much now. I can. Okay, yeah. So now it's like, maybe I've done it so much that I don't really understand. I don't acknowledge it anymore or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but I remember being a kid and being able to do that. Yeah.
I believe that you still have it, and you probably do have it in the background, right? So the thing about intuition is that it is so closely related to your emotions and has been with you since before birth that you come up thinking it's just common sense or just that everybody has it, which is one of the downfalls of intuition. I have this thing about the 3 pitfalls of intuition. So So you can actually go back and you could start developing it if you'd like. It doesn't go away. It just gets a little rusty. Or it's such so back in the background that you just need to like slow down a little bit, and then you can hear it coming forward, or you can taste it as you go forward. Right? It's really interesting.
Amazing.
Super interesting thing. All right. Yes. You don't need to raise your hand.
I don't want to interrupt, but isn't there also like clear knowing? Is it clear cognizance?
Claircognizance. Claircognizance to me, I don't talk about as often because it slips into channeling really easily. So
Oh, okay.
everything slips, but thanks for asking. Everything slips into another. So psychic, intuitive, and channeling is the same as going out to a really nice dinner, right? When you, the plate presentation and the smells and the taste are all in one for a beautiful experience. That is the same for your psychic, intuitive, and channeling. Okay. So yeah, claircognizance is like that knowing, right? And then channeling is the message that comes with the knowing.
Okay.
How that's a slip, how it just kind of slips.
Yeah.
So I'm going to explain this in a way that my Swami mommy has. I'm feeling her around me. She passed away a little bit over a year ago. I'm going to explain it to you the way she explained it to her students. Okay. So think of a bullseye. All right. The target area is you, your physical self. Okay. The next area out is your emotions. The next area out is your intuition. Okay. Now, draw a line all the way through it. That line is psychic.
Okay.
Okay. Now think about beyond the bullseye. Think about the paper, the background, the land that the background is on, where you are. That is channeling. Okay. So you get to have all this stuff. Your emotions encompass you plus energy around you. Intuition includes you, your emotions, and energy around that. Channeling is everything around that. Psychic is the through line. Okay, whose mind got blown? Does that make sense?
So
Yeah.
it's-
All right. So we did psychic, we did intuitive. So channeling is beyond knowing. It's the truth or the message that comes with. Okay. How many of you have been in a conversation, all of a sudden this beautiful wisdom comes out and you're like, I wish I could take credit for it, but it's just not mine. Right? There you go. I have two that I will share with you, two little nuggets. Excellent, Barbara. Here are two little nuggets that I got, and I love to share with everybody. The first one, if Jesus, Buddha, and Krishna are not for everybody, why the hell should you be? That's number one. That's the first universal truth that came to me. I won't say the first, but the most memorable. And the second one is my all-time favorite. Sometimes you have to get a rash to realize you're sitting in your own shit. So your channeled message is always profound. It doesn't always have to be serious. Okay? Because that's a wisdom. It's one of my favorites. All right. Any questions so far?
On the channeling, I get visitations from my father and my husband, and I have from other family members that have passed on. They usually come to me in my dreams, but not always. Is that a form of channeling? I mean, they're clear messages for me.
And that's actually a really good question. And I say no, because it's coming from them and it's not coming from a universal source. It's like say having a conversation, right? Soul talking.
Yes.
But your comment was the perfect segue. We're now going to talk about dreams, because dreams are psychic. But because there are so many symbols that we have to interpret, that's the intuitive part. Now we're going like we're in a dinner, right? So the message is very clear. and it's in the language of symbology. But the interpretation process, you have to do it intuitively, which means you have to feel your way through it,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Pretty cool, right?
Mhm.
All right, any questions so far? I usually don't talk this much. You can ask anybody. I usually don't talk this much. All right, go ahead, Maggie.
I have a question. Okay, so with the channeling thing, I definitely identify with that. I mean, even if I'm like in a Facebook group and giving somebody advice, sometimes I'll go back and read that and I'm just like, that was not me. But more often when I have a sitter and I'm actually doing a reading, I mean, I can just sense that so I guess my question is this: is channeling the same as like when I'm doing a reading with somebody and I'm connecting in with source and I'm getting information and I feel like that information is just coming from there through me to them? I'm like, this, I can feel it's not me. This information, is that what you're calling channeling, or is channeling more when we're sitting and specifically connecting in one-on-one with spirit and chant? Like, is it all the same?
Channeling, it's all the same, baby. It is
Okay.
all the same. So you could be going to the grocery store and then you're going to channel,
Mhm.
or you could be sitting and doing a reading and channeling. Sometimes when you're in a reading, you don't channel, right? You're giving your client what they want or what they need, what they think they want, but what they need, right? So channeling, it comes in so many forms. Now, here's another way of channeling. Sometimes channeling comes through, the information comes through, and then I ask source, is this for me or for them?
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes the channeling is for me and how to interact with them. It is a universal message.
I have a question about that. When you say channeling different forms, I have a practice like morning pages, but I do it through art. I do a ritual and then I sit down and I put myself in space and ask spirit to come through, and I don't pick the colors. I mean, I don't look, it's not like I go, oh, I feel like blue or green. It's just, I just kind of blindly pick things and I just start putting them down on the paper. And sometimes instantly a face appears and the message comes very clearly. And other times it doesn't. And I have to sit there and just say, okay, maybe you're not ready to tell me, maybe later. And then later in the day, all of a sudden it's like, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, everything has to do with vibe, right? So if you're not in the right vibe, if you're not in alignment, this is why we're talking, I like the word alignment. I also like the word integrity. So if you're not in alignment, it's just not going to come. The thing that I love about you is that you're like, all right, we're not vibing right now. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put my attention someplace else, because what'll happen is it relaxes your mind. It releases expectation, and then you get to pop back in.
And it's like, wow, why didn't I see it? But I realize it's because sometimes I'm asking, I want to see, and it's like, okay, let it go, let it go, let it go. You're right. We're not
expectations.
Yes.
Do you find, Cynthia, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Maggie, and then Janet.
Okay. Do you find that it's important, or that the messages come through any stronger if you know who it is that you're channeling, if you're channeling working with spirit guides, or if it's from people who've crossed over? Do you spend a lot of time trying to connect into who's this information coming from, or does it not matter?
Not for me, but that's who I am. Remember, I'm 168 trillion. I am Cynthia.
Oh.
168 trillion, right? You're different, right? You're Maggie. You're 1 in 68 trillion. So the person who's going to come see me is going to vibe with me, and they're going to say, okay, she doesn't fuck around, and she's all about efficiency, and you know what I mean? So I'm not the best hand holder, but I will hold your hand, but I am not known as the hand holder. Okay. I am known as, let's get the shit off of you and take a look at what's inside. Right. You're different. Right. So different people. So it could be that that's what's important for you and your clients, or the situation. Right. For me, my goal is, and it's as a healer, I always do this. How am I going to help them leave better? Right. And for me, better is always on purpose. Okay. Lovely. Yes, Janet.
Yeah, my question was, you all have obviously a lot of experience. I don't. but I'm curious about your source. You're saying spirit guides. Well, how do you get your spirit guide, your source, your
Well, spirit guide, yeah, spirit guides. So there's everybody has a different philosophy, right? So my philosophy is that we have a team, so we are never alone, right? And our
Yeah.
team is physical as well as in energetic form. And your team can be of this dimension or of another dimension.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so that's your team.
It could be
And
like God, right? It could be God.
to me, God is source, and that is channeling. Your
Okay.
spirit
'cause I-
guides could be your auntie that had passed away, or someone
Right.
that you had a
Oh,
past life
now I get
experience
it.
with, or someone who just goes, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I might help you out for a little bit.
Yeah, because when I have some difficulty, I'm not religious Christian, but I often say, okay, God, am I doing the right thing? Or I talk to God.
Right.
And I do get the feeling whether I'm doing things right or not. I
Sure.
go with my intuition then.
Right. So remember,
So-
it's like eating dinner, right? Nobody likes eating dinner that looks like poop, because then you think you're eating poop, right?
Yeah.
And nobody wants to eat dinner. I mean, it takes a really special person to eat durian for the first time because it smells like crap. It smells like gasoline,
Yeah.
right? So you want something that smells pleasing and looks pleasing and then tastes pleasing in order to have this beautiful experience. And that's what healthy is. It's the same thing when we're talking. God, divine source, higher self, whatever you want to call that greater energy, if you believe that that's the greater energy,
Yeah.
then that information can come in a bazillion different ways. It can come into a direct message, right? Which is
Yeah.
the two little nuggets of wisdom I gave you, or it can come as visions. It can come as knowing. It can come as you meeting the right person at the right time, which is synchronicity. Lots of things. Okay. But let's go back, because I want you to be able to differentiate one or the other. All right. So remember, we're all going. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to draw. This is, just so you know, this is not anticipated, but I feel compelled to do this. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper.
Cynthia, while you're looking for that, can I ask you a question about dreams?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. Okay, so this morning I had this really weird dream where this person kept showing up, driving me crazy. I kept pushing him away. And then he would show up someplace else again. And I'd be like, how did you get back here? You left. When I was driving to go meet somebody this morning, it popped in my head that I always try to figure out who the person is, or, why it's happening. But this morning I thought to myself, you know what, that's what's creeping into my life. It's not the guy, it's not the person. It's, I'm trying to better and be better and this and that. And something keeps creeping back in and trying to take me back down.
So I agree. And if you were coming to me for dream analysis,
Mm-hmm.
I would say this. I would say, okay, that's a really good intuitive dream, and I love your thing. But it feels like that you are really really wanting to be in charge of your life, and it's not in balance, and that there is a masculine side of yourself that is wanting to get through. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is a guide trying to help you out, but you are very independent and really want to do the I do it myself type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of help for you, and all you need to do is just relax and help and ask, and you'll get to your destination much far quicker.
Okay, but I mean, it was just interesting that instead of trying to psychoanalyze it, I just thought to myself, this is not, I've been looking at my dreams in the wrong light. I have to look at them differently.
Yeah, it's not that you've been looking at them in the wrong light, it's that you've grown out of it.
Okay.
There's a difference, right? Because it's not fun when you think of yourself as wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it does feel better, and it is a truth when you find out that you are growing out of something.
Okay.
You graduated from psychoanalysis. Awesome. Congratulations. I'm dead serious.
Thank you. It was just so weird that it just happened while I was driving. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, totally makes sense. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to quickly connect, and then I'm going to play a psychic game for you, and you're going to see that you're right. Okay, so let's close our eyes. Let's take 3 deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. After you do your 3 deep breaths, return to your normal breathing. And now in your normal breathing, I'd like you to release with each exhale. I'd like you to release an expectation. I'd like you to release an inhibition. I'd like you to release an anxiety. And with each exhale, you find yourself clearing, which makes you feel calmer and quieter and clearer. From this space of clarity, I'd like you to get fully present within your body. To do that, I invite you to feel the bottoms of your feet, the tips of your fingers, and the top of your head simultaneously. Now what I'd like you to do is put a smile on your face. It doesn't have to be a big smile. And see if there's any shift in your energy. From here, I'd like you to acknowledge your energetic body. So let your expansion move beyond your physical into your energetic body. See how far that it goes out. Feel its tensile strength. And notice the color and clarity. Let your energy move beyond. And now, just like the diagram, allow a line from the universe to go up through the top of your body, down, along your spine, down your body, through your feet, and into the core of the earth. From this space, just feel your energy. Don't have to note it, just feel your energy. Notice any itches, twitches, aches, or pains. And now, when you can trust that you will be this connected with your eyes open, take a nice deep breath and come back into the room. All right. Everybody good and back? How's everybody feeling? It's great, right? It's better than drugs. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I don't have a card, but I'm going to write down a card. All I want you to do is see if you feel the card or what I've done, the number that I've chosen. Remember, you're always right. It's not your body. Okay? We're gonna play this game. It goes like this. You don't have to be right on all of them. We're just looking for confirmation. Tell me, red card or blue card? Just write it down if you think it's a red or a blue, or note it. Okay. Is it an odd or an even? Is it 2 through 5 or 6 through 9? And if you feel like you can figure out the suit, you see the suit, write down the suit. Okay, is everybody done?
Yep.
Here's the fun part. I'm not going to tell you the card. Here's what's important. Did you feel the answer come right away?
Yeah. Right.
That is psychic. Does that make sense? I'm just messing with you. Do you guys want to know what the card was?
Yes.
All right. Remember, the important part was feeling the psychic connection. All right. Okay. It was 4 of spades.
Oh, well, not. I
Right?
had the spade right, and I had the
Yeah.
even right.
Okay. So look at the success. Did you pick an even card? Did you pick a black card? Did you pick that it was over, that it was between 2 and 5? Jennifer, you're not looking happy. What did you pick?
I thought it was a 6 of diamonds, red.
But you had even card,
Yes.
right? So this is where, so you got to look at
Even.
the successes, because one, I just threw it to you like, holy shit, right? And then the second is that, you know, not everybody's psychic connection works that way. I have a feeling you connect with people and not with cards, right? So it's just to show you how that works.
What color
I had a really strong sense that it was the Jack of Hearts.
There was I made sure not to use space cards.
That's where I went.
Who's this that was saying that?
Barbara.
Barbara, do not fret.
Oh,
right? Okay, great.
I
So,
saw that card in my mind as
Uh-huh.
clear as day. Somebody was
Yeah.
holding the Jack of Hearts at that moment.
Yeah, and so it's really interesting how it's, so what you're doing is you're just honing in, and psychic happens that fast. That's all I wanted you to experience, is that it happens that fast. If you start thinking about it, you're trying too hard. You got to back up and start again.
I
First
found-
I'm sorry, what'd you say,
I came
Lana?
with the same number. I came with the same number that Jennifer did, with the number 6. But I take my card.
It's kind of, yeah.
That was interesting.
It's interesting in that it's kind of funny because you'll know who you vibe with based on whose card you picked. Kind of weird, right? But that's how that works. It's funkadelic. I swear, it happens in a really funny way. All right, let's do intuitive. Okay. This
Can I
is
interrupt you 1 second? What color was the card? I missed that.
It was
bit.
black. It was
Oh.
4 of spades.
I had red. Okay.
I had black spade, but and an even number. The spade was really instantly, I said, it's a spade. And then I started thinking, well, that's kind of, I don't know. I started questioning. I said, no, it's a spade.
Yeah,
And
I
the-
got the spade.
So now think about this in your life. You have a psychic moment. It is a knowing. And then the rest of your energy fucks with you, right? No, you're not that kind of person. That's not logical, right? And you know, my voice isn't like that, but it does exist, and it is in there, and you're like, oh my God, right? So it's these kind of classes that keeps the confirmation going, that goes, okay, keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. And there were days in all the years that I would go see my Swami Mommy that the class just didn't work for me, but I would go back because I remember, right? I remember, like, I've had other successes, and that was just a boring class. And the only reason it was a boring class, since she was a boring person, it just didn't vibe with me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
There were just certain days. There were certain days I just wanted to be a bitch, and I'm just sitting there pouting. right? So I spent my money going, I hate this class, but I would go back. So, it's just one of those things. We are human beings. And this is where I like to do too. I want us to make sure that we are incredibly spiritual spirits. We need to just remember to celebrate being a human being. I love swearing. I love being angry. I don't really love being angry, but I love the fact that human beings have the opportunity to be angry because there's a lesson in there, right? Best school ever. All right, back to it. Intuitive. Any questions so far? No? Intuitive. Close your eyes. Know that you are completely and fully present and that you are still protected and safe. Go back. Remember that you have itches, twitches, aches, pains. Just note them. This is just a discovery, if you haven't already discovered, of how you are your most prominent intuitive self. I'm going to say a name. Silently, I'd like you to say this inside. This name inside 3 times. It doesn't matter if you know someone with this name, just go purely with that information. And the name is Trish. Trish. From the space, did your energy go up or down? Just note inside, stay there. Do you have any itches, twitches, aches, or pains? Do you feel any emotions? Do you see any colors? Do you hear any words? When you get a sense of Trish and how you've communicated with Trish, thank Trish's energy for sharing with us today. Take a nice deep breath and come back into the room. Maggie, I know this is old hat for you.
Oh, I don't know about that. I just learned something really profound about myself in my last exercise, actually. I'm kind of still on that. But
Good.
yeah.
Good. I love when people get value from here.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I had a hard time going forward with the next thing because I was like, oh my God. So the 2 things that I got right on that, I used a totally different sense than I always think is my strongest sense, which is I usually just just knowing, claircognizance, but I heard them. I heard even, and I heard spades. And the other 2 I got wrong because the way I usually do is I just knew it. I'm like, oh, it's red. Oh, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, because I just looked at it. I'm like, I heard those 2 like somebody was standing right next to me. I heard evens, I heard spades, and I've never thought that was clairaudience was a really strong sense of mine. So I'm literally just sitting here like, oh my God, all the things I've heard that I've discounted. And that was just really cool. And I think it was a really good example of like, you don't have to get everything right. Really focus on the ones you did get right. Why did you get those right? That may be like one of your strongest senses. I'm sorry, I just had like a light bulb moment go off on that.
You don't even need to say why. You don't even need to say why. You're like, hey,
right.
New skill,
yeah.
Right? I'm honing my skill. All right. So let's do this really quick because I want to be respectful of your time. Here's what I'd like you to do. Raise your hand if you felt your energy go up or down.
I went.
Okay. Raise your hand. It's okay. Raise your hand if you felt any itches, twitches, aches, or pains. Raise your hand if you saw any colors or symbols. Raise your hand if you felt any emotions. Raise your hand if you heard any words. Okay, let's go to claircognizant. Raise your hand if you know something about that person. Jennifer, I'm watching you. You didn't raise your hand. What's going on?
I mean, I felt my energy like drop at first and then it started going up. And my throat kind of,
yes,
I don't know, like felt tighter.
No, you do know because you're always right. Okay, you're always right. Okay, so yes, throat chakra, perfect. So this is intuition. This is intuition, body to body, emotion to emotion, experience to experience. Okay, we haven't had a chance to talk about channeling, but I do want you to know that channeling is when you get that information from source. And again, it all comes together. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
I just got an itch on my nose.
Great. So
Is
what
that-
you want to do, it's either one of two things. Either you have not released Trish's energy. So now you know there's something about Trish in your nose and you want to release that energy, or there's something about you that's connected with Trish and it's making your nose itch.
Oh,
Fun, right? So many ways to work this shit out.
And I know I have to call Trish because I felt it in my heart and I know a Trish and I've been worried about her and haven't heard from her in a couple of years. So thank you.
Right? You're feeling compelled, right?
Extremely. I've been thinking about her a lot. She's gone through a very difficult time and has pulled back from all her family and friends. And so I know she needs somebody to reach out. And I'm going to do that as soon as we end this call.
Great. Okay, perfect. So let me tell you, the reason that I wanted to teach this class was so everyone who was here can see the differences and go to each class. So we have a psychic development class that I have for you. I have an intuition class that I have for you. I have a channeling class that I have for you, all through Angel Heart. And I welcome you to investigate, because the more you learn about this part of your life, the more you unlock the mundane part of your life, right? Mundane doesn't have to be boring. It just is consistent. Consistency is awesome. All right. Do you have any questions?
I just wanted to say, I wanted to tell the person that's all red and I saw the same color.
There you go. Yeah. And so, right. And so
somehow connecting with Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah. You red sixes, you sixes. And, right. So I want you, so there's so much to do. And I'm excited because like I said, I've been in this energetic format for half my life. And my desire is to explore more for the rest of my life. You know, I'm one of those people that this is what I do for the rest of my life. Super excited about it. So I've got these classes coming up. I've also got a retreat coming up, which is called Expansive Heart Retreat. And it's in March, and it's affiliated with Angel AH4U. And it's March 18th through 20th. And it's a series of different meditations so that you get to be quiet and hear what your soul's purpose is. So I invite you to that. Anything else? I'm asking my friend extraordinaire, Ms. Leah Valenzuela from Angel Heart, if there's anything else I have forgotten.
No, and you guys, I'll send you an email of all of Cynthia's upcoming classes.
Awesome.
She mentioned, and you know, you've already experienced how amazing she is as a teacher. So hopefully you'll continue your psychic development with her in all the different classes.
Oh yeah. There's one last thing, right, Leah, which is when we talked about channeling, we started talking about channeling from the universe, right? I had the opportunity to channel from the fifth dimension an energy called Endura. It's a star seed session, and that's coming up through Angel Heart as well.
Right.
I'm busy, girls. So yeah.
Still feeling Trish's energy. How do I get rid of it?
I'm sorry, you feeling triggered energy?
No, Trish's.
Oh, move. So stretch, move. You got to wiggle it out.
Who is Trish?
Doesn't matter.
Don't know, but whatever it is, it didn't feel so good.
Yeah. So the thing so what I like to do is when I do an energy so that you can feel, I make sure that I find someone who is solidly in an emotional or in a space so that it's easy to pick up a stranger. Cause it's easy. It's it's intimidating for me to go, I don't know who the fuck a Trish is, and I'm just gonna, right? So it's learning to trust that piece. All right. It's 11:35. I am really, really grateful that you've all shared this Saturday with me. If you
Thank you.
have any questions, I'm going to hang for another 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to give you my signature closing, which is, I love you all. Oh, you know what? Before I say that, my name is Cynthia Varkevisser. You can find me at Angel Heart for You, and you can find me independently because I do things affiliated with Angel Heart for You. And feel free to contact me in any way, shape, or form, except for hashtag not that kind of psychic. So I won't call you if you say, Cynthia, give me a call, because I don't think I have your phone number. All right. And with that, if you're welcome to stay. But if not, I love you. Thank you. And get the fuck out.
And don't forget, she does personal readings as well. So if that's
Oh,
something
yeah.
you wanna do, you can sit with her and get a personal reading as well.
Yeah. And if you actually don't trust me, but I also please get readings. They're 30 minutes, 60 minutes. And I'm also doing like a psychic circle, right? Where I do
Yes,
readings.
that's actually next week.
Yeah, psychic circle readings, right? So basically you come and it's group reading. It's way fun. It's kind of like this.
You'll get the
Is that in
email and it has
person?
everything.
Is that in person or on Zoom?
Zoom.
It's all Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be back in person until actually I'm not sure, because we're reaching people on different, so I think we're going to do hybrids where I will come back in person, and that'll happen sometime in the future. Just don't know when it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
This was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
this
I
was
have to tell you,
great.
Cynthia, sometimes, and I've talked to this to energy healers, I have a hard time speaking because I would prefer to speak mentally, telepathically. So when you said that, I would tell my husband often, I wish you could just read my mind and I could tell you, and I could send to you my thoughts instead of verbally expressing. So
That's why I want to make a shirt, hashtag not that kind of psychic. People always, there's so many things. My favorite is people go, give me the lottery numbers. That's when I say hashtag not that kind of psychic. Otherwise, I'd be doing this from my yacht, from my island. But yeah. But it's fun. But I do, I don't do mind reading very well. I'm too opinionated. You have to have an open mind. All right.
So much,
Thank you.
Cynthia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
to see everyone.
you.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
staying.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.